Good morning. Well, there's nothing good about this morning because nothing's working, nothing's running. Doo-doo. So we're at 55.6 volts. So we've had cell high voltage cut-offs and nothing's going in, nothing's going out. And for some reason the balancer is not doing anything, it is not turned on. So what I'm going to do is I am going to change the balance open start voltage. I set that to 3.45. I'll put that down to 3.35. Set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Set successfully. Bugger. Bugger. Go away. Oh, right. One click too many. Right, I've not mixed it, so I'm settings. We'll go for 3.3. Oh, come on, you know it's me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The balancer's still not doing anything. Ah. I don't know what this board 2, cell number 6, board 3, cell number. Oh, come on. Oh, God. Well, I don't know. I efficiently do not fucking know. Right, I've wasted enough time with this. I'm going to have to, well, bang my head against a brick wall, have a Google search, something. changed the minimum voltage down to 3.3, and the balancer started and kicked in. Number five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the old clamp on it, and yeah, there's an amp going out of cell number 5.9 going out of cell number 5. 16, 15, 16, 15, 14, 16, 15, 14, and there's an amp going into number 14. Hey, I was hoping it was wrong. The listing for the Daly. Oh, and the LED's got brighter and it's blinking at me. It's nice and bright now. Got a nice bright green LED on the active balancer, showing me that it's doing something. Hurrah! Right, but the only downside is, and I re-watched one of the Off-Grid Garage's videos on the Daly. It would appear that all of the cells need to be above the set parameter. Because I had it set at 3.45. Some of the cells are over 3.45, some of them are under. So I've set it down to 3.3, which all of them were over 3.3, and the balancer has kicked in and started working, and now it's turned off. What, it's turned back on again. What you doing, Daly? So it would appear that all of the cells need to be above the threshold that's set, which is a bit daft, as you might get a runner. I was hoping that that wasn't true, because the Daly listing says that it's a single. They don't call them cells; they're called strings. And it says that when a single string goes over the set threshold, that it cuts in and balances. Might not be the case, but it's better than nothing. We'll see how it goes. Once the state of balance is better, then that might not be so much of an issue. Once the cells all get a bit closer together. But if I've got a runner, i.e. cell number 14, then I'll have to have a test and have to have a look. I really was hoping that wasn't the case of all of the cells had to be above 3.45 for the balancer to kick in. That's a bit silly. I'll monitor it, see how it goes. If it doesn't perform, then I'll cry. But if these cells can't be salvaged and can't be saved, then I'll have to reevaluate my options anyway. Right, see how it goes. So it's 6:15 in the morning. We had a deviation right the way up there at 0.25. It would have been ish for the cell over voltage protection to kick in. It's now down to 0.186. And we'll go from there. To be continued if I don't slash my wrists. That's quite cool. The power supplies kicked in and is fluctuating between 0.5 amp and 1 amp being charged into the batteries, and the maximum cell voltage popped up, but it's not cut out just yet. It's gonna, maybe not. I don't know. So the old, okay, yeah, the power supply is only just putting in a little trickle, but the balancer's topping a little bit off the top. Well, let's just see how it goes. Look, cell number 10 is now the lowest. Cell number 14 is now the lowest. There must be a setting or something for the individual cells. Running out of things to say. Yeah, there must be. That's just silly. That all of the cells have got to be above the threshold. Because if that's the case, I might as well just leave the thing running all the bloody time. No, Andy would not approve of that. What I'd have to probably do is, I don't know what to do if I get a runner. Maybe instead of going into the point where you're at the steep charge point of the charging curve in the knee, maybe sort of go down to the 3.4 where it's just starting the real steep climb of the charge curve, so it gives it as long as possible to trim it down a bit. But it's going to be better than nothing, because I was pissing in the wind with my setup and how wonky the cells were. Right, fingers crossed. There it goes. Fingers crossed. Alright, it's still doing its thing. It's been about half an hour. The maximum cell voltage is still up, and the power supply is still up and down from half an amp to an amp. So it's still fluctuating and topping up what the active balancer is shuffling about. So the maximum is still very high and the cell deviation is still high. But what is of interest is the minimum cell voltage, even in just half an hour, that has risen to, well, nearly 3.4. And it is now no longer cell 14 that is the lowest, it's cell number 10. It's been fitting between the two of them, so cell number 14. So hopefully once we get these back into check, it might not matter that all of the cells need to be above a threshold. It's just that this pack is wildly out of whack, quite wonky. And also, I suppose, if it only kicks in when one cell is above a threshold, it could disguise, if you've got a really powerful active balancer, it could disguise if you've got a really poorly bad cell that needs to be swapped out and replaced. Whereas, like as I am, there's a repeat offender number 14. If that continues to be a problem child, you know, then there might actually be something wrong with it, and that would highlight that there's something going wrong with the cell when everything's got to get above a threshold, and there's one that's upsetting the party. You know what I mean? Maybe, hopefully. So keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep on checking on this every half hour to an hour, and just let the power supply trickle in. It's going to be a really drizzly, cloudy, overcast, wet day again, so I doubt there'll be any solar to make anything worthwhile. So I might just leave the inverter off and everything turned off and just a power supply to do a maintenance balance on it, and then I'll change my parameters again up to sort of like the 3.4, 3.45, and then I'll whack it one and abuse in normal operation and see how it goes. But it's better than nothing, that's for sure. See, cell number 9 was the lowest then, it's flipped up to 10. So energy is being shuffled around. Fingers crossed it doesn't take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So we'll see how it goes. And once things settle down a little bit, I'll tweak the voltage up on the power supply. Let it settle down and tweak the voltage up on the power supply and see how close to the absolute maximum of 58.2 volts I can get to. So that's enough waffle for now. I shall just monitor and report. But certainly the minimum cell voltage is increasing. It's now number 6 that's the lowest. So it is doing something. Whether it's the right thing, I don't know. Right, catch you in a bit. Alright, must be clear and concise and quick. I have been away, just had a shower quick and come back and see what the state of play is with the old Dalys. Cell deviation 83 millivolts. That's in just under 2 hours. The minimum voltage has gone all the way up to 3.461 from about 3.35 in less than 2 hours. Wow, I didn't expect it to be going that quick. That's really good. That's really encouraging. I'll give the LED still blinking away on the active balance. The user interface on the app is still going to take some getting used to. Either that's glitchy or I'm glitchy. Give the power supply a wee tweak in voltage. There we go, that's up to poking 5 amps back into it. And we're back to constant voltage and the amps are tailing off really quickly. Down to 2 amps. So the Daly BMS has stopped registering anything under 2 amps. Power supply is ticking down. Maximum voltage popped right up to 3.6 and some change. Cell deviation up to 100 and odd. Balance is still blinking away doing its thing. 56.8 is pack voltage. Give it a tiny little tickle. Try and get it up to 57 volts on the power supply. There we go, 57.05, that'll do. And that's it, back to constant voltage quick. So that was quick as you like. And the amps are tailing off. So we're getting to a good state of charge. Minimum voltage 3.5. Cell deviation shot up, but 3.627. 626. So the balancer's doing its thing, trimming a bit off the top. Well, that's encouraging. I'll in a little bit. The power supply has dropped off to 57 volts, 0.4 of an amp going in. So I'll let that sit and absorb for a while, see what that balance does and the deviation does. 122 millivolts. Right, to be continued. See you later. Bye. Right, it's now about another hour or so later. The LED on the active balancer is still blinking away. It's still doing its thing. Oh, come on, the fuck, man. Come on. Why are you so fucking dim-witted? There we go. 22 millivolts. Wow. 19 millivolts. Balance has just turned off. What the hell? Wow. The little Daly can. I say. I'd still rather be able to get into my actual blooming BMS. Why does the BMS lock me out? BMS have gone to sleep, I think. So that's saying 18 millivolts of deviation. All nice and together at 3.578 and 3.56. Wow. Wow. I'll give it a little tweak of the old voltage. We're at 57.1. $58. Current's tapering off. Balance is doing its thing, blinking away. Maximum voltage and minimum voltages are together. Amps have tailed off to 0.6 of an amp going in. So I would say that this is fully absorbed and fully balanced. Cell deviation of 24 millivolts. So I reckon, rough maths, it's in the space of 3¼ hours. I've gone from a maximum cell over voltage cutout of 3.6, and then one of them was down at 3.33. So, you know, well up there in the hundreds of milliamps of difference between upper and lower. So in the space of 3 hours, we are absorbed at 58 volts. I don't see any point in pushing it any higher. Or do I? Shall I? Go to 58.2, shall I? Gently, 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 gently tweak up. 58.2. And yeah, the amps are quickly tailing off. Haven't had a maximum cell voltage cut out. That's great. Oh my god, time flies when you're having fun. Right, I'm going to call this fully absorbed. I'm going to have a celebratory coffee. And then I am going to clump it one and drain some life out of the battery. Get it right down to the bottom, see what's happened at the bottom, see if that's any closer together, because that was in tatters. 58.2 amps, 0.1 of an amp going in from the power supply. So in less than 3 hours, in just more than 3 hours, gone from an absolute mess to nicely balanced. The LED is still blinking away on the active balancer. One thing I have noticed is that the voltage on this is under reading. You can see there it's at 57. Well, it's now changed to 58.4, so it's now overreading. .0. So the overall pack voltage on that's a bit unstable. Temperature, it's saying the temperature's at 33 degrees. I'm presuming that's its internal temperature, but I've got my hand on it and there's just a slight bit of warmth to it. Oh, so perfect, brilliant. Balancer's turning on and off, getting that deviation down as low as possible to the 20 millivolt cutoff. So I am absolutely delighted with how that went. I was expecting it to be a lot longer. The only thing that would be a disappointment if there's the threshold, if it's just one cell or all 16 cells have to get over the threshold. And now I am going to spank it one, probably end up running the tumble dry at some point, deplete the battery as much as possible, see what's happening at the bottom. Well, thanks very much for putting up with my waffling. Hopefully this has been an admirable display by the Daly BMS and the Daly Active balancer working in harmony. The user interface on the app, I've still got to get my head around. It's quite glitchy and annoying, but that is still a minor annoyance compared to how we were. Brilliant. Right, thanks very much. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see how this performs. So down at the bottom, and then normal operational charging, discharging, and see if we've got any naughty cells. Thank you very much. Look after yourselves. Bye bye for now.